Now, Brother Elijah Muhammad, Minister Farrakhan recently instructed his followers to study Dianetics, a modern science of mental health by L. Ron Hubbard. What is Dianetics? Has it benefited you personally? And how could it benefit our people?
Yes, sir. That is correct, brother. The Honourable Minister Louis Farrakhan really has taught us that Dianetics, as you rightly stated, which is a modern science of mental health, is in fact a tool that we can use to help our people to overcome really what is centuries of abuse and misuse. What we've discovered, brother, is that the research, study and application of Dianetics by Mr. L. Ron Hubbard, it actually works to alleviate many mental and emotional and even some physical problems suffered by humanity as a whole, but especially suffered by our people. Mr. L. Ron Hubbard identified a part of the human mind that we never knew, brother. We never knew that it existed. And this part of the human mind he calls the reactive mind. And this part of the human mind, it records and it stores on a cellular level every episode of unconsciousness, physical pain, and painful emotions, which when those unconscious periods or physical pain and painful emotion, when they are re-stimulated by some later incident, and this later incident, if it has some similarities to the original incident, which contains unconsciousness, physical pain, or painful emotion, this re-stimulation and key in can now cause many irrational behaviors or aberrated behavior of that individual. And so in Dianetics, it's really an awesome study. And this permanent cellular trace caused by incidents of unconsciousness, physical pain, or painful emotion, these recordings are actually called engrams. And in the process of the study of Dianetics, we are taught that the only way to erase the engram or to stop the negative influence of the engram is to go through the process of Dianetics therapy, which we call auditing. And I can say categorically, brother, in answer to your question, that through the study of Dianetics, which I was on the course for some over 4 months, I've personally benefited greatly. I really found it a most profound study, a very difficult study, but really the learning and the teaching and the depth of understanding that comes from this study is really awesome. And now, as I speak to you, I'm speaking to you as a qualified Dianetics auditor. And brother, it gives me tremendous joy when I'm applying what we call precise tools for the human mind. These are really precise tools that we use. And to see the good results and the relief that people receive as a result of the Dianetics therapy, it's really fantastic, brother. And so I thank the Honourable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and I thank Allah, brother, for the opportunity again to have been exposed to this knowledge, because as the minister rightly said, brother, it's another string to our bow. It's another tool in our arsenal that we can actually use on a practical level to help our people who have been aberrated and who are suffering from these engrams as a result of tremendous harm that has been done to us, be it historically in terms of the 400 years or just recent when we were in our mother's womb and what she was going through in terms of abuse or misuse, and living in a society which is racist, and living in a society which has disenfranchised us to the degree where we are poverty-stricken and where we are struggling on a day-to-day basis with all manner of emotional and physical problems of a painful nature. It makes us very, very ingramic. And so therefore, this tool, this Dianetics tool, this auditing process is very, very valuable, very, very important that we learn it and that we apply it and help our people to alleviate some of these conditions that we currently suffer from.
Minister Farrakhan has come under much criticism, as I'm sure you are aware. What would you say to those who criticize the Honourable Louis Farrakhan for instructing his followers to study Dianetics?
You know, brother, you're always going to have your critics. It is just the nature of moving forward and growing and developing. And the reality is that, you know, as men, one of the problems that I see quite often among us as a people is that we're so afraid of criticism that quite often we will do nothing. But you know, this Caucasian brother, when he went into the West, in particular in North America, and he went to steal the land of the Native Americans, the indigenous people of that land, he had a saying, brother, and he said, a man's got to do what a man's got to do. And you know, even though he was doing evil, I understand the principle of what it takes to be a man. Because if he wasn't manly and if he didn't go out in order to win the West, then he could never have succeeded in his doing of evil in order to take that land wholesale from the rightful owners. Well, we got to do the same thing, but on a righteous level, and we have to say the same thing, that as men, we cannot and we must not attempt to please all of the people all of the time, because you just can't do it, brother. And you make yourself a fool and a laughing stock. And so the Honourable Minister Louis Farrakhan knows that there will always be gainsayers and naysayers. And at every juncture, the Honourable Louis Farrakhan teaches us that we follow him in 99% doubt. I believe that's the figure he used. It may be a little less, but we do tend to follow our leaders in tremendous doubt, and we're looking for the slightest excuse to ask the question, has Farrakhan changed direction? And then we want to run in the opposite direction and say, yes, I told you so. You know, brother, I love this man so much. He is a bold and courageous fighter on behalf of our people, and he represents God in person. He represents God, and he represents the Christ of God, the Honourable Elijah Muhammad. And he has been guiding us now for many, many years, since he stood up again in 1977 to rebuild the teachings of the Most Honourable Elijah Muhammad. And in that time, brother, I've come to learn that this man is a divinely guided man, that this man is very, very careful in the way in which he applies the teachings of the Most Honourable Elijah Muhammad, in the way in which he guides and instructs the believers. And I'm also mindful, brother, that the Honourable Elijah Muhammad instructed the members of the Nation of Islam, and whoever cared to listen, that wherever we see the Honourable Minister Louis Farrakhan, we should look at him. Wherever he tells us to go, we should go. And wherever he tells us to stay from, we should stay from. And so therefore, for me, it's a muted point, you know, because I cannot waste any time considering those who really don't have sufficient knowledge, wisdom and understanding to even be viable critics of this man, based on this man's record and based on the works that he has thus far achieved and continues to achieve. And so therefore, I can't, in good conscience, brother, pay too much attention to those naysayers and those gainsayers. I have to say to them, study a little bit deeper, and you will see that the Honourable Louis Farrakhan is really guiding us aright, and he's guiding us to our own salvation. And we just need to have a little bit more faith and a little bit more courage of our own convictions, and not be so easily swayed by the wind, so that we, blow with every convenient wind that comes along, but that we become resolute in our determination, like the Honourable Louis Farrakhan, to go forward and not backwards, and not to the side, not to the left, and not to the right, but to be focused on the prize, on the goal, and let's go and get it.
Thank you very much, Brother Leon.